Now let's talk about debugging as a whole, and I want to cover just a few things that I've covered in the past and then introduce one new concept. First of all, when you are working on a mission, and this is a mission that I created that I intentionally made ugly, I want to re-emphasize the issue detector in the upper left-hand corner. So as you're making changes and as you're adding in particularly camera commands, keep an eye on this warning icon here. Now, what I did is if you click on this, I've intentionally created a variety of things. If I look at this mission, I have a trucking shot going to the right. That's what this path is right here. And if I go into it, I've got an approach and I set up some immediate commands in a list. And you can see is I have an ISO setting, I've set it to video, I try to set the video format, and then I set the photo aspect for some unknown reason. So this was intentionally messed up. But if you pull up the issue detector, it'll tell you all the things that are wrong, whether it's a warning or whether there's an actual error that's in place. So first of all, it's telling me that I'm doing things before I start do a stop capture. What I need to do is I need to put a stop capture in here, and then put that at the top. And that will eliminate a lot of my problems. Now if I go back into my issue detector, it's going to tell me the camera photo aspect is attempted while the camera's in video mode. This command will always fail. So that might have just been something that I overlooked. Why am I setting the photo aspect ratio to 4.3 when I'm actually going to be shooting video? Probably should delete this. Now I've cleaned that thing out. So quick comment on that, just to make sure that as you are getting ready to go fly, always check your issue detector, always make sure that it looks the way that you want it to be. Now, the other thing that I would highly recommend you do is you do a preview and you look at the timeline. This was a mission, again, for Sydney Opera House, and I intentionally messed something up in this thing just to kind of show you something. Let me pull up the mission here. So I've got a path, I got a 360, and then I've got an orbit at the end of it. So let's say that before I get out and fly here, I just want to make absolutely sure that things are looking good. I go to the mission previewer. Now, in addition to playing the mission and making sure that the mission looks like it's got a path, that it's looking the right direction, that it's doing what you want to do, I also recommend looking at the timeline. The timeline will tell you a variety of things. It'll first of all it'll let you make sure that the camera actions are happening where you want it to happen. It'll give you an idea of the number of batteries. But the one thing that I did on purpose was I mistakenly, on purpose, I put the wrong altitude, and you can see that, wait, I'm 150 feet. Why did it drop down to 30 feet here? That's probably not what I meant it to do. It seems like I've got a marker problem here where it's dropping way down to like 15 feet. So if I close this thing out, I pull up my path, I pull up my markers on that path, and I can, oops, see, look at this, the second marker was set to 15 feet. Realistically, we wanted this to be at 115 feet. So now that if I close this and I rerun the preview, everything would be back to normal. So as a whole, run the preview, make sure the mission's doing what you want it to do, and the altitudes are right, the distances are right, everything looks good before you fly. Okay, next, I want to demonstrate a very powerful feature that's within Dronelink from the native app, and this is the ability to fly a verification mission. So if you look at this relatively simple mission that I've created here, I've got it taking off here and then just kind of doing a quick path. The important thing to realize is that I've got 2 points of interest. I've got a point of interest here, the A, where it's going to look at the water over here, and then it's going to fly around here, and once it gets to this point, it's going to transition and start looking at B. So the key thing that I want to stress here is that the drone is not looking where it's flying. It's looking to the right as it's flying upward. In this particular mission, there's really nothing to worry about. I'm just flying over water. But if I was flying around trees, or I was flying around someplace where there might be wires or other things that I don't know what's in front of me, that could be a problem. So there is a capability called a verification mission that we built in, where the drone will basically modify your mission and run it with the drone looking straight forward. So I'm switched over to my iPad running this native app, and if you look up top, there is that demonstrating test mission that I just created. However, instead of clicking load plan, which would load the plan normally, if I click on the 3 dots in the upper right hand corner, you'll see an option for a verification mission. Now if I load this mission, And watch, I'm going to click play, and I'm going to run this mission.
3, 2, 1. Starting mission.
Takes off, goes to the approach, turns around. However, if you watch the path here, instead of looking at the point of interest, it's going to fly straight forward. So this is a valuable way to check to make sure before you fly the mission finally, if there are any wires, any trees. It also will take advantage better of the sensors on the drone, so that if there is a problem, the drone will stop. So I'll let this mission finish.
Mission accomplished.
But now if I go back to the native app, but instead of loading a verification mission, I just click on load plan. It's going to load the mission.
3, 2, 1. Starting mission.
I can click play. And now this mission will run as it was designed, looking at that point of interest. So again, just a powerful way to make sure that you don't run into problems before you run the final version.
Mission accomplished.
Now, one other thing that was recently added to the web interface that is actually a great feature is sometimes when you're out flying and you run into an error, and an error might be something where a command executes incorrectly, or you might have missed it when you didn't look at the issue detector. There's some other problem that prevented the mission from completing properly. If you're in the field and you're looking at your iPad or even your iPhone, sometimes it's hard to see exactly what the error was that came up. So if you go into your account, and again, you've got your list of repos here and all your list of missions under those repos. But to the right of it, this second icon here hasn't really been covered in a lot of detail. It lists all the missions that you've run. Now this normally is pretty useful as a whole, just giving you an idea of the missions, the names, whether it was succeeded or whether it was aborted or whether it was failed. If you click on a mission that's succeeded, it'll pull up the mission, it'll tell you that it was accomplished, it'll give you information on the device that you ran it on and make sure everything looks good. However, if you pull up a mission that failed, so let's scroll down, let's find a mission that failed. So this one here. In addition to telling me the drone that I flew and the device that I used, it also gives me the error that would have come up on my screen. So this would allow me to go back and debug it and make sure that everything's right before I go back out and fly it again. So just a very useful, this is a nice useful way to kind of debug post-mission if you may have missed it when you're out flying in the field.